In a quiet neighborhood lived a shy boy named Adil who always kept his eyes low and his words gentle and soft, and no one ever really noticed how his mind danced with colors and rhythms that he never dared to show to anyone because he believed that people would laugh or misunderstand him, and so he hid this little universe inside himself and spent most of his days blending into the background like he was a passing shadow on an empty street. And every night he would sneak out to the narrow alley behind his house where the walls were old and cracked and tired, and he would pull out his hidden cans of paint and feel his heartbeat rise as he listened to the echoing silence around him, and he would begin to paint long flowing shapes, bright strokes, lines, curves, dreams that spread like untold secrets across the worn bricks, and he felt alive there in a way he never felt anywhere else because the colors spoke louder than he ever could, and the way the paint slid across the wall felt like something breaking free inside him, and these nights became his sanctuary where he could be loud without making a sound and bold without facing any eyes, and he kept this world hidden like a precious treasure. Yet this was not the only secret he carried, because when the paint dried and he stepped back to admire his work, there was another fire burning inside him: the beat, the rhythm, the need to let the words spill out in the form of rap, and he would whisper his verses into the dark, letting the flow rise and fall with a soft confidence he never showed under the daylight, and each verse told stories of fear and courage, of wanting to be seen yet hiding away, of silence that carried storms, and in these late hours he felt like the version of himself he truly wished to be, a fearless creator unafraid of colors or words. But life outside those alley walls never changed. He stayed quiet in school, avoided crowds, kept his notebooks hidden because in those notebooks lived verses and sketches and ideas he guarded like fragile glass, and he often wondered if there would ever come a day when someone would see his art and hear his songs and understand the world that lived inside him, but he always convinced himself that such miracles were meant for other people, not for him. One evening when the sky was fading into a warm twilight, he created one of his most powerful graffiti pieces, spreading a huge figure made of swirling colors stretching across almost the entire alley wall, and he felt something shift inside him as if the art was calling him forward, urging him to step beyond fear, and he set his phone against an old brick box, pressed record, and began to rap in front of his own artwork, letting every hidden emotion spill into the night with a raw honesty he had never dared to release before. And when he finished, he stood breathless and trembling, feeling both terrified and free, as if he had opened a door he could never close again. He told himself he would delete the video because no one must ever see it, and yet when he returned home and looked at the recording, he felt a strange pull to take one small risk just once, and so with shaking hands he created a new account, posted the clip, and shut off his phone, unable to watch what would happen because he was sure nothing would happen at all, and he fell asleep thinking the world would never notice. But the world did notice, and it happened faster than he could imagine. Adil woke in the morning expecting another ordinary day, but when he checked his phone it buzzed with endless notifications, glowing numbers, strange messages, likes, shares, comments, and his heart raced as he opened the video and saw that it had exploded overnight, reaching thousands and then tens of thousands and then more, and he felt his breath catch because people from everywhere were praising his art, calling his rap honest and powerful, calling him a hidden star, a natural talent, a voice that needed to be heard, and he felt both overwhelmed and stunned, as if he was standing under a spotlight he never asked for. He stumbled out of his room, unsure how to feel: excitement, fear, disbelief, all swirling like a storm, and his hands shook as he scrolled through comments, strangers telling him they felt seen through his words, others saying his art made him feel brave, people asking who he was, where he came from, how he learned to paint and rap like that, and he kept blinking to make sure he was not dreaming because all his life he had been invisible, and now suddenly people were reaching for him from every direction. By the afternoon his video had gone viral across multiple platforms, and his inbox overflowed with requests from small music channels, art pages, local creators, collab offers, shoutouts, and he felt dizzy because none of this felt real, and yet it was happening. And the most shocking part was that his classmates found the video too, which terrified him at first because he feared ridicule or jealousy, but instead they looked at him with new eyes full of surprise, admiration, curiosity, and for the first time he felt like he existed not as a shadow but as someone worth looking at. A group of boys who barely noticed him before approached him in school, telling him the rap was fire, the graffiti insane, and asking him to join them during lunch for a freestyle session, and though his voice trembled as he replied, he said yes, and when he stood in that circle and let his words flow, he felt the fear melt piece by piece, and he realized that his talent was no longer something he needed to hide, and his voice came out strong enough to silence the chatter around them. Days passed and his account continued to grow rapidly, and a small online magazine reached out wanting to feature him as a young underground artist, and he read the message 3 times in disbelief before typing a slow yes, and when the article came out people began calling him the boy who paints emotions, the silent rapper, the hidden flame, and though those titles felt unreal he let them settle into his heart bit by bit, warming places that had felt frozen for years. He kept painting in the alley, but now he recorded it openly, capturing the process, the colors, the emotions, and people watched fascinated as he revealed pieces of himself through every stroke and verse. And though he was still shy, the camera no longer frightened him because he felt like he was talking to a world that finally wanted to listen. And every video he posted drew more support, more kindness, more connections that reached far beyond his small neighborhood. Even his parents slowly discovered his secret talent after someone sent them the viral clip, and at first they were shocked, unsure how to react, but when they saw the joy in his eyes and the passion in his creations, they began to understand that the quiet boy had been carrying a universe inside him all along, and they stood with him, encouraging him, urging him gently to explore this new path with courage and humility. And he felt a warmth he had never felt before at home, a sense of being seen, heard, understood. Opportunities arrived one after another. A local art cafe invited him to paint a mural live during an event. A small music studio offered to help him record his first track for free, and influencers began using his graffiti clips in their videos, giving him credit, tagging him, praising him. And the shy boy who once felt invisible now found himself stepping into a future brighter and wider than he ever imagined. As weeks turned into months, Adil felt himself transforming from the quiet boy hidden in the shadows into a young artist standing firmly in the light. Though still humble, still soft-spoken, his confidence grew like a sunrise, slow, steady, unstoppable. And he walked through his neighborhood differently now, noticing how people smiled at him, how children pointed to his murals, how friends called out his name with genuine excitement, and the world felt new, as if someone had rewritten the story of his life with brighter colors and stronger lines. He spent many evenings reflecting on how one moment of courage had changed everything, how one decision to step out of fear had opened doors he never knew existed. And he realized that talent was not meant to be buried, that dreams were not meant to be locked away in secret alleys and notebooks. And he wished he could speak to his past self, whispering that vulnerability is not weakness and silence can be broken by even the softest voice if spoken with truth. Now his alley, the place where everything began, became a symbol of hope to many who followed his journey, and people visited to take pictures, to feel the colors, to stand where he once stood alone. And he often returned there too, not out of fear but gratitude, painting new stories on the walls as reminders that every beginning, no matter how small, matters, and every hidden spark deserves a chance to burn bright. He continued rapping, recording, writing, and soon released his first full track, which spread quickly, gathering support from fans around the world who connected with his sincerity. And he started performing at small events, trembling at first but steadying himself as soon as he felt the rhythm rise inside him, and his voice carried through each crowd, grounding him, reminding him that this was who he was always meant to be. Through all this he remained true to the boy who once painted in silence, never forgetting the lonely nights, the hidden dreams, the quiet courage. And he used his platform to encourage others to share their own hidden talents, small hobbies, passions they feared showing. And his message resonated strongly because people saw their own reflection in him, someone who began unseen and grew into something powerful through honesty and passion. As time went on, Adil built a whole community around his art, connecting artists, rappers, painters, dreamers, and giving them a space to be heard. And he felt endless gratitude because he knew that his journey was not just about fame or success, but about the freedom to express the deepest parts of himself without fear, and to inspire others to do the same. And every time he looked at the first viral video, still up, still gaining views, he smiled softly, remembering that moment when he stood trembling in front of his mural, thinking he was not good enough, worth noticing, or capable of anything bigger than his quiet life. And he realized how wrong he had been, and how beautifully life can change when even the shyest person chooses to take one bold step forward. And so he kept walking, painting, rapping, growing, glowing, proving that hidden talents can become stories that travel the world, and silent voices can become rhythms that echo through countless hearts, and shy boys can become creators who reshape their own destinies simply by believing in the power of what they carry inside.